I was still in my office when the last headline went live. Another article calling my platform the quiet powerhouse of Southwestern cybersecurity. My phone buzzed nonstop with messages from investors, reporters, even people I had not spoken to since college. But my family stayed silent, just like every other milestone that mattered. I leaned back in my chair, letting the buzz of celebration fade into something steadier. I should have felt proud. Instead, there was that familiar hollowness like applause echoing in an empty auditorium. Then my phone lit again. Not with congratulations. With a text from my father, Dominic. Family dinner, 7 p.m. tomorrow. Important. No greeting. No emotion. No mention of the valuation that had taken me 6 years. 4 failed prototypes, and more sleepless nights than I could count. I stared at the message until the screen dimmed. It felt like being 19 again, standing in the hallway of our old apartment, begging him to co-sign my first lease while he shook his head and said, "Struggle builds character. Isola." He signed Raphael's lease a year later without hesitation. I guess character only mattered when it was mine. I locked my phone and grabbed my jacket. My body moved automatically, but my mind kept circling that one word, important. With Dominic, important never meant emotional. It meant transactional. And now that the country knew my company was valued at $42 million, he suddenly had something urgent to discuss. A part of me still wanted to believe he might show up differently this time, but I had learned to listen to the quieter parts of myself, the ones that remembered every absence, every teaching moment disguised as abandonment. As I stepped out of the office, the city lights of Albuquerque shimmered across the glass. It hit me that I had built a life far away from the version they remembered, and tomorrow, I would walk straight back into the one place that never changed. If you have ever been pulled back by the people who once dismissed you, stay with me. I want to know where you are listening from, because stories like ours travel farther than we think. I spent most of the next morning pretending to work. My laptop sat open, a half-written email blinking at me. But my mind stayed trapped on that message from Dominic. The word important pulsed like a bruise I kept pressing. By early afternoon, I gave up pretending. I closed my laptop and walked into the garage. 2 cars waited for me, the black SUV my team surprised me with after our seed round, and the battered 2008 Honda Civic I had owned since college. One represented the life I built. The other represented the life my family believed I never outgrew. I took the Civic. Keep the expectations low, I muttered, turning the key. The engine coughed, like it remembered every mile I had survived alone. Halfway down the driveway, my phone buzzed. A voice note from Raphael. "Make sure you are not late tonight. Dad wants to talk numbers, and he is not in the mood for drama." Numbers. There, it was confirmation before I even arrived. I hit play again, listening closely. No congratulations. No acknowledgement. Just the assumption that I would fall in line. Like always. I sent a text back, "I will be there." 3 dots appeared, disappeared. Then, nothing. Typical. The drive toward Sun Mesa Country Club felt shorter than usual. Maybe because I was replaying an old memory standing in the kitchen at 20, telling Dominic about the beta version of my security app. He laughed under his breath and said, "Mija, there are real businesses in this world. Do not waste your life chasing ideas. Tonight, that same man wanted something from me." As I parked between a line of pristine luxury cars, I cut the engine and let the silence settle. My hands stayed on the steering wheel. Steady. I knew exactly who I needed to be when I walked inside, and it was not the girl they remembered. The host barely glanced at me when I gave my name, but the moment he opened the private dining door, every head at the table snapped up. Dominic stood first. "Isola, finally." His smile stretched too wide, too fast. "Come here, Mija." I let him hug me, but his arms were stiff. Impatient, like he was already calculating the conversation. Maribel kissed my cheek. You look tired. Are you eating? You never take care of yourself? Same script. New night. Raphael leaned back in his chair, swirling his drink. Traffic rough. He did not wait for the answer. Theo lifted his eyes from his phone for barely a second. Hey, he mumbled, then went back to scrolling. Dominic gestured to the only empty seat, the one slightly apart from the rest, not at his side, not across from him, angled off, like an audience member instead of family. We ordered appetizers, Maribel said. We were not sure when you would show. I said I would be here. I replied. Raphael chuckled softly. Schedules are flexible for people in tech. Or so I hear. I let the comment pass. There would be time to hit back later. Dominic folded his hands, elbows wide, reclaiming the center of the table. Your company has been in the news. Quite a headline. $42 million. Was it? He said the words the same way someone mentions a fender bender and inconvenience. Nothing more. Maribel nodded quickly. Yes. We saw something on social media. A platform of some sort. Cybersecurity. I clarified. Raphael lifted a brow. Online stuff. Hard to keep up with what is real these days. I held his gaze. It is very real. He looked away first. Dominic's voice softened with rehearsed pride. Well, success is success, and we are glad you came tonight. Your timing matters. There it was, not even subtle. What timing, I asked. Dominic exchanged a quick glance with Javier Cortez, who had been quiet until now, his hands folded neatly, eyes calculating. Raphael smirked into his glass. We all know why you are here, he said. I sat back, steady. Then say it. Dominic inhaled deeply, the mask slipping just enough for me to see the urgency beneath. We need to discuss the future of the Rowan Lodges. Dominic laced his fingers together, his voice shifting into that slow, deliberate tone he used whenever he wanted obedience disguised as respect. The Rowan Lodges are entering a new phase. He began, a full renovation, expansion, a complete rebrand. Javier cleared his throat as if on cue. We secured $930,000 in construction financing, but the renovation bids came back higher than expected. $2,400,000 for the full overhaul. Raphael leaned forward like he was unveiling something brilliant. That leaves a gap, a bridge loan of $1,350,000. Maribel touched my arm, her fingers trembling in that practiced, delicate way. This is your moment to give back to the family. Mija, after all the years we carried me, I repeated quietly. Dominic ignored that. You have connections now. Status, credit. We need you to step in, sign for the bridge financing, and help us move this forward. It is time you took your place in the family legacy. Raphael smirked. Real estate is stability, not like that digital thing you are doing. I let the dig sit between us. It said more about him than about me. So this dinner, I said slowly, is about money. Dominic shook his head sharply. No, it is about family. Maribel nodded. We are offering you a seat at the table. A seat, Raphael echoed. That comes with responsibility. I studied each of them. Raphael vibrating with entitlement. Dominic struggling to hold his authority together. Maribel clinging to emotional leverage. Javier watching me like a banker evaluating collateral. You could have called, I said, or congratulated me, or shown up during any part of the last 6 years. Dominic sighed heavily. Do not twist this. We are here now. That is convenient. I answered. Raphael rolled his eyes. Here we go. Drama. I turned to him. You want drama, I can give you drama, but I am giving you honesty instead. Dominic's jaw tightened. Isela, enough stalling. The question is simple. Will you help us? The question, I said, is why you need me. Silence thudded on the table. Javier finally spoke. carefully measured. The properties have challenges, some deferred maintenance, a few vendor delays. A few I asked. Maribel squeezed my wrist. Please, mija, do not make this ugly. I gently moved her hand away. You want me to guarantee a loan for $1,350,000, I said, meeting Dominic's stare. But you are not being honest about what you are walking into. Dominic bristled. Everything is under control. No, I said. It is not, Raphael scoffed. And how would you know? I leaned back. Steady, deliberate. Because I already looked. Raphael blinked at me like he had misheard. Looked. At what? The lodges, I said. All of them. Dominic's head snapped back. You had no reason to do that. I had every reason, I replied, especially after Javier contacted one of my investors asking if I might be open to a quiet personal contribution. Javier stiffened. It was an exploratory conversation. No, I said. It was a warning. So I hired someone to run a silent audit. Maribel's voice shook. You investigated your own family. I protected myself. I answered. Raphael leaned forward, eyes sharp. You are exaggerating. There is nothing wrong with the properties. I opened the small notebook I had brought, flipping it to a page marked with a yellow tab. The contractor in Santa Fe filed a lien 3 weeks ago for unpaid work. The fire safety inspector in Las Cruces flagged a violation last month. And you have 7 months of overdue invoices with 2 vendors in Albuquerque. Dominic's lips parted. That is not possible. You missed the notices, I said, all of them, or you ignored them. Javier rubbed his forehead. We meant to resolve those delays. Delays, I repeated. That is what we are calling them. Raphael slammed his hand on the table. This is out of line. Isela, you think knowing a few numbers makes you some kind of expert? Numbers do not lie, I said, voice quiet and even. People do. The words landed hard. Even Theo finally looked up from his phone. Maribel reached for me again. We came to you for unity, not attack. I am not attacking you, I said. I am telling you what you refuse to see. Dominic straightened, forcing authority back into his posture. We do not need your judgment. We need your support. You either stand with your family or you turn your back on us. I closed the notebook. Do not twist this into loyalty. You invited me here because you need a lifeline, not a daughter. Raphael scoffed. You think you are above us now. One headline and suddenly you know everything. I know enough. I said. Dominic leaned forward, voice sharp. If you know so much, then tell us. What exactly do you think is happening? I met his stare without flinching. You are not asking for a bridge loan, I said. You are asking for someone to save you from a collapse you created. Dominic's face flushed a deep, simmering red. Collapse, he repeated. You have no idea what you are talking about. I do, I said. Because I have the documents. Raphael snorted. You brought paperwork to dinner. This is pathetic. I reached into my bag and placed a plain manila folder in the center of the table. No logo, no label, just wait. Dominic stared at it as if it were a threat. What is that supposed to be? He demanded. Truth, I said, before anyone could speak again. The door opened. A woman stepped inside, sharp suit, steady gaze, calm steps that cut through the tension without effort. Noah Tanaka. Dominic's head whipped toward me. Who is she? My counsel, I said. You might want to hear what she has to say. Noah nodded politely. Good evening. I will be brief. Raphael pushed back his chair. You brought a lawyer to family dinner. You brought demands. I replied. Noah placed a second folder beside mine. The bank initiated special review on the Rowan Lodge's loans 4 months ago. Your accounts were flagged as distressed assets. As of last Friday, the debt package was sold. Dominic's voice cracked. Sold to whom? Noah glanced at me. I met his eyes. To Rowan Ridge Holdings. Raphael scoffed. Never heard of them. You have, I said. You just did not realize it. Rowan Ridge Holdings is mine. Silence slammed into the room, the kind that swallows sound whole. Dominic struggled to speak. You bought our debt. I acquired the entire liability portfolio. I corrected. Every overdue invoice, every default warning, every outstanding obligation. Maribel's hand flew to her chest. Why would you do this to us? I did not do it to you, I said softly. I did it because no one else would take responsibility for the disaster you created. Javier's eyes widened as he flipped through the documents. Dominic, she is not bluffing. These are final. The transfer is complete. Raphael lunged forward, grabbing the papers. This is illegal. You cannot ambush us like this. It is not an ambush, Noah said. It is a purchase. A lawful one. The bank approved it because your accounts were months away from foreclosure. Dominic's voice broke. Isela, this is humiliation. No, I said. Humiliation is what you gave me when you told me struggle would build character while signing Raphael's lease the next year. This is accountability. Raphael pointed at me, anger trembling in his hand. You think this makes you powerful? It does not make me anything, I said. It just makes the truth impossible for you to ignore. Dominic's shoulders sagged, drained of the authority he always clung to. So what happens now? I slid the manila folder back toward me. Now, I said, you stop pretending this empire is still yours to command. Dominic stared at me like the ground had shifted under his feet. You cannot just take control, he said. This family built those lodges, and this family ran them into the ground. I replied. Raphael shot to his feet. You want the business that badly. Fine. Make your pitch. Let us hear your big plan. No, I said. You misunderstood. I do not want the business. I want closure. Noah slid a crisp envelope onto the table. Inside is a buyout proposal, she said. $350,000. Clean numbers. Immediate disbursement. Maribel blinked fast, tears threatening. You are buying us off, I am giving you a way out. I answered. More than the equity is worth in its current state. Dominic's voice trembled with disbelief. $350,000 is insulting. It is generous, Noah corrected. If Isela calls the note, the bank will seize everything within months. You would walk away with nothing. Raphael scoffed. We will sue. You think we will let you corner us? We will take this to court. You can, Noah said calmly. But it will not reverse the debt transfer, and discovery will reveal every violation and overdue payment on record. Javier cleared his throat, eyes down. They are right. You have no leverage. Raphael glared at him. Whose side are you on? The side that deals with reality. Javier muttered. Dominic pushed the envelope back toward me. I will not accept pity money from my own daughter. It is not pity, I said. It is severance. For all of us. Theo suddenly spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. Isela, what happens to us if we sign your parents walk away with the funds? I said softly. The business is restructured under new management, and the debts stop swallowing you. Raphael scoffed again. You mean under your management? No, I said. Under competent management. Dominic's face crumpled for the first time. You mean to erase us? I mean to stop pretending your leadership is still working. Silence fell heavy. Then Theo swallowed hard. If you are rebuilding things, could I try to be part of it? Not as family, as someone who wants to change. Raphael laughed at him. Pathetic. But Theo kept his eyes on me. I saw fear there. And hope. You can start at the bottom. I said, nothing will be handed to you. Theo nodded, almost relieved. Dominic looked at him, betrayed. Theo, but the younger version of him stayed quiet, staring down at his own hands. I pushed the envelope back toward Dominic. Decide, I said. And this time, he had no power left to hide behind. Dominic finally reached for the pen. His hand shook once, then twice, before he forced the signature onto the page. The moment the ink touched paper, something in the room sagged like the spine of the family had snapped. Maribel covered her mouth. Dominic, you cannot just give up. I am not giving up, he said quietly. I am out of options. Raphael paced behind him, furious. This is a mistake. All of you. She played you. She played all of us. No, I said. I told the truth. You just did not want to hear it. Raphael pointed at me. You always wanted to take what we built. You were jealous. I stood. I wanted space. You turned that into jealousy because it made you feel bigger. He scoffed and stormed out, the door slamming behind him so hard the glasses rattled. No one followed. Maribel turned to me with trembling eyes. Mija, please, do not leave us like this. I am not leaving. I said. I am stepping back. There is a difference. Theo stood slowly. I will show up tomorrow, wherever you tell me to be. 7 a.m. I said. Office on Lomas. Wear something you can work in. He nodded, grateful and scared at the same time. Dominic kept staring at the signed papers, his voice barely a whisper. I thought I still knew how to lead. You taught us to be strong, I said. You just forgot that strength has to evolve. He did not answer. Noah opened the door for me, and the shift in sound from tense silence to the muted hum of the club felt like stepping out of a cage. Outside, the night air was sharp. My old Civic sat crooked between 2 spotless luxury cars. Beside it, my black SUV waited like a truth I had been avoiding. Noah handed me the keys. You do not have to hide anymore. I unlocked the SUV. I am done hiding. As I closed the door, the noise of my family's unraveling faded behind the glass. I drove away without looking back, the engine steady, my breath finally matching it. By the time I reached the highway toward Santa Fe, the night had settled into a steady quiet. My phone buzzed once on the console. A message from Maribel lit the screen. Please, do not leave us like this. I let it glow unanswered. Not ignored, just not accepted on their terms. The miles passed, and the first Rowan Lodge sign appeared ahead, worn and half-lit. Soon it would be rebuilt properly, not patched with excuses and guilt. Theo would start tomorrow. I would see who he could become without Raphael's shadow pressed over him. I slowed as I neared the property, the familiar silhouette rising in the dark. For the first time, it felt less like something they had ruined and more like something I could reshape. Noah's voice from earlier replayed in my mind. You did what they could not. Maybe so. Or maybe I just stopped waiting for them to become different people. I pulled back onto the road, the SUV humming beneath me. The future ahead did not feel heavy anymore. It felt open. If you have ever had to choose yourself over the people who kept taking, you are not alone. Tell me where you are listening from. I want to know how far stories like ours travel.